All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And this is Agencies Talk, where Mark de Grasse gets to talk with agency owners and consultants about the super cool things that they do and, just about agency life in general. Usually he has donuts, but he's decided that donuts are the devil and he's not doing that anymore. Jason, he has something.
I have mini donuts. They're actually not, I thought they were small donuts, but it turns out they are not. There's some kind of like sugar
mini
cookie.
Donut, a small donut.
Okay,
moving on.
Look like tiny donuts. They aren't though.
This week we are joined by Carol Suzuki, founder of Empowered LLC, and she actually posted in the Facebook group a couple weeks ago about something really cool she did. She helped a cryotherapy business that was making $0 and 0 cents go to $50K in monthly recurring revenue in 4 months, which, I mean, wow.
That's amazing.
Like, that's so cool. And one of my favorite things about it is that she didn't do any sort of like insane tactics. It wasn't like something new and shiny with a brand new price tag and covered in chrome. It was the stuff that digital marketer teaches everyone how to do. So I wanted to bring her on to talk to Mark about that. And I have done enough talking, and I will kick it over to Mark because it is his show.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome, Carol. That's incredible about the cryotherapy. For everybody who doesn't know what cryotherapy is, it's basically freezing your butt off so that your body draws blood from your limbs into the center to make things better. But it's not a super pleasant experience. It's actually kind of painful. But so the fact that you've been able to, but it's newer. That's amazing. You were able to increase it that fast. So did you set up a CVJ for them, or what were the basic steps?
You know, what's funny is this wasn't Mike's first rodeo. So we did go from startup, but I don't even think we sat down to do a CVJ, to be quite honest. Because I don't think he was interested in like doing all the prep work, because he knew what he wanted. So, but he knew, like, because we actually met during, like, I had this free networking group, right? And so we would start talking SEO. So he's like, Carol, can you do my SEO? Like, I know you use SEMrush, like, just do it. So I said, okay, I'll do your SEO and I'll research your keywords. So that's how it started. I did his SEO, helped him with put his website together. And then he's like, hey, do you want to learn some Google ads? And I'm like, yes, I want to learn some Google ads. So from the SEO, and we're in South Dakota, so it's like 80,000 people, right? And his form of cryotherapy is very innovative and new. He doesn't have the booth. It's literally a spray. So I was kind of, so I was really concerned that it's new. People around here, they've heard of cryotherapy. There's like one other company that does the booth thing. But they're small. It's very small. And we were starting in the end of November, beginning of December. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like, it's cold in South Dakota. Who's going to want to do cryotherapy in the middle of winter? Right. Oh. Yeah. So I was a little nervous about that. So I did understand the search volume on that. So then, I was like, okay, let's go ahead and let's start these search ads. And I think a couple of weeks into it, I was like, Mike, I'm concerned because there's the search volume, right? Like, you're still at the mercy of search volume with search ads. So the first month in business, he did 10K. And we were pretty excited. And we talked about, you're going to have to educate people. You're probably going to need some Facebook ads. So he did his Facebook ads. He's got a really great creative eye. But I was in the background setting up like analytics and tag manager and his pixel and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. And between the Facebook ads and the search ads, we got him like from 10 to 20 to 30. And then I always like come back to DM because I'm self-taught. Like this is, going into DM, learning stuff. And I kept watching Kazum's Google ads and how to do them better. And so I was like, hey, there's this Performance Max thing. Like, let's try it, Mike. And so when I saw him like randomly, because he'll just call me like, hey, this is my traffic. Let's like just get together and talk about it. So yeah, cool. Like, let's just talk about your traffic and the numbers. And then the Performance Max is what kicked it off. He's like, I've made 50K like the last couple of months. And he's like, and this month looks good. And then I talked to him about June. So it was down to 40. And I looked at his PMAX campaign, and he likes to tinker. So I think I showed him too much because he tinkered. And now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to start over again. But, we would go in and start looking like, these are your in-market segments. He's like, I learn something every time, but every time I come back to DM, I learn more. So it really wasn't fancy. It was just keywords, and, you're still in search. So if people aren't searching, your ads aren't going to serve. And it was just, I guess, understanding the nature of inbound and outbound. And the more I get it, and things are better. So that's
amazing.
Yeah.
So for the actual ads, because I know you said he was kind of running them, were we helping him create the offers? Like what was the core offer that was converting?
So it's just the cryotherapy. Like that's what we started with, is just
like get
freeze your fat. Yeah. Like
freeze your fat
off.
Okay.
Yep. Like that was pretty much it. Yep. And he's more about the cryo aesthetic. So it wasn't even, because we went the route of doing cryotherapy for health very briefly. And he's like, no, like I want people to look fantastic, Carol. Like they are going to get Botox facials. Yeah. Like I want to like help them feel slimmer. And so I was like, oh my God, like people don't understand this. You're going to have to teach them what to search for.
So is this the same? Is it the same as the ice sculpting, or is this, so it's not cryotherapy in the sense of like turning your body to a certain degree? And
you can, like, so I went to its grand opening, because it's like it looks like an airbrush, like they can target shoulders. So there are health benefits to it. But what he was doing is like, freeze your tummy, freeze your thighs. And then I got these rollers that will like break down the connective tissue, and you can look fantastic, literally. Or have a Botox facial, like get a facelift. So it's even like more, I guess, like it's more aesthetic, more niche, but the ability for health, like, helping with your frozen shoulder or whatever, it's there, but that was not the target. No.
Oh, that's amazing. So did he, so there was no actual offer. It was just basically like, come see us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there an intro? Like, sorry, I keep on harping on the offer.
No,
it wasn't like
no
you get
freebie,
10 sessions for one.
No
nothing.
reduction. Like Mike's like, they're going to come and do it or not. And I'm like, you know what? I get you, because it's a small town. I don't believe in like, I don't know. We were both just like, the offer is good. So he's like, this is what it is. This is what it is. Just come call. I'll give you a tour of the thing. You can check out the equipment. And then he would do demo videos though in the beginning. He did some demo videos for Facebook, but what I was doing on search before the Performance Max was just literally search ads. And then PMax, we just recently put a video on there, like whatever the video was what they put together from the asset group. So, but it was working. Like it was driving a lot more traffic on, obviously. And I left the search going because it's like the more people were seeing that outbound and learning what to search for, then the search ads really started kicking in behind that.
Okay, so you kind of relied on the AI to kind of find those paths. Yeah, because it actually costs them, swears by PMax, so that makes sense. But it is very creative dependent, is what he says. So,
and I think the only thing I did for audience was like, I targeted the event of getting married and getting engaged. Literally, that was it.
That was the target, not even like a, oh, that makes sense though. So you're targeting the solution and result that people wanted versus people looking for cryotherapy.
Yeah, because they weren't, and they didn't know what cryoaesthetics was before, so.
I like that.
Yeah.
So where did the ads actually land you on? Did it just go to the website, or did you have like a opt-in, make an appointment form, or?
So they went right to the website, and then we were talking about this. So he uses Vagaro, and because I'm newer to Tag Manager, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really hard to track like your widget. Beyond, I could track like the clicks to call. And like this, like he did have a contact form, but we just found very quickly that it's just spam. And like even my husband's website, we don't even do contact forms anymore because it's always just spammers. It's like people around here would rather call you to just schedule an appointment. Yeah.
Okay. So you just geolocated the ads and then had call this number to make an appointment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And then this was the only type of advertising he was doing. He wasn't doing anything else.
No, just the the search ads and Facebook. Well, I can't say there's nothing else because I think Mike's a social butterfly. So we have a local like small hockey league. It's not professional, but so I would start like seeing him there and showing up, and then he did his banners there. And then we just started our like local football team, and I was like, oh, there's Mike's banners there. So I think he did leverage like some of these local sporting events as well, by getting like the seats and the banners. But I have not heard anything on radio. So
for a small town, that might actually be enough, where you just in terms of the CVJ, for the awareness stage, it would be sponsor local teams and events, and then follow up with the retargeting and kind of general awareness through Facebook and Google ads.
Yeah, and I think here, like, you see a lot of the locals very active on Facebook. So just like him, doing the demos and talking about the grand opening, and then just people learning what to search for is, I think, really what drove that. I think the next, Oh,
no, go ahead.
So then we were kind of talking about maybe the next targeting would be the young parents, right? With young kids, get the baby body, get the pre-baby body back. But yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So in terms of ascension ladders or offerings, so just so I understand the product, so is the product come in, get sprayed, and that's it, or is there like a subscription where you should come back this many times, or programs for fat sculpting or whatever it is?
Right. I know he has a subscription plan, but I don't even think we mentioned it. It was just literally get your fat blasted, and then now we've got this cool roller thing, and we've got infrared sauna. So, but I know he has packages, but I don't think, he's actively like promoting anything like that. It's just literally come check us out. And because the results are so strong, I know you're going to come back or want more.
Oh, okay. Well, so it sounds like you have like the basic skeleton set up, but there's like room for, maximizing it all over the place where you have that
absolutely.
So is there a follow-up plan where, okay, say I found out about cryotherapy, I have a wedding coming up, so I want to lose some belly fat. I got the belly fat, I went to the wedding. Now what's the next stage for the customer journey?
I have no idea. Like, cause like I said, he'll just call me up, Carol, let's look at my analytics. Let's look at my ads. Like,
okay. So you
put our heads together. So I'm not like,
well, this is exactly where you would install the CVJ. So basically, and I've heard people do it different ways, but you would explain the customer value journey. And then since you have some components, you could actually just take them and plug them into where the journey is so far. So for you, it would be, here's a customer value journey, awareness, sponsoring local events, and Facebook ads and Google ads. That's the awareness stage. Next stage is engagement, where I'm guessing the phone, call me up or watch my demos. So watch my demos would be the engagement. Then you have subscription, where it doesn't sound like you're collecting emails yet.
He is, but because I asked him about that, because I wanted to upload them to Facebook and Google, but he's like, Carol, there's not even 2,000 yet. Again, Rapid City is like 80,000 people, like.
Well, as a percentage, no, that's a huge number. Like 2,000 of 80,000. That means you have like a significant portion of the population.
Right, and we just not yet, right?
Okay, so so then the next step is that you need to start email marketing, where maybe in form of a newsletter for demos or benefits of cryotherapy, maybe a weekly thing that you do. And then the first conversion would be your initial offer. So, and this is why I keep on going back to just these terms, because it sounds like shotgun is what he's doing, where I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. Hopefully people come back. But what I think will happen, and it won't, because we're having this conversation, is that people will try it once and then, yeah, I tried that. And then if there's no kind of concerted effort to groom this client into somebody who will not only come back but also promote you, then that's going to start to dip. So if you have a really good 3 months and now you're seeing a dip, it's because there's no follow-up for that.
And I would agree, because like I said, Mike's owned other businesses before, and I think there's just like fear to try a lot of new things, but he knew like ads have worked for him in the past with the business that he had in the past and he sold. So he was game to do that. I think, and that's where it's interesting, because I agree, like email's king. And I've seen that where I've had other small businesses we've built from email and then built up to ads, right? And that was really interesting as well. So it's really like, it's what Mike wants to do, because I can try to talk to him, but he already knows in his mind, like, this is what works for him. This is what's worked for his e-commerce. So and I'm
that's
just kind of like the cheerleader, and just say, this is what I have available, and
you need to
this is what I can do.
No, well, and that's the problem, is if you say, hey, he's the marketing professional, then you're not going to be able to advise him on it. You need to install yourself as the marketing professional, because that's what you are. And even though, because I've worked with a lot of small business owners, and a lot of them will do this stuff, but if you present them with like a solid system, right? He's a systems guy, because he's in the fitness and wellness space, which I was in, and they love structured plans. But if you can't say like, hey, here's the plan and here's why it'll work and flow through, he's going to keep doing whatever the hell he wants. And when it's convenient, he's going to blame you for it not working anymore.
Sure.
It sounds kind of cynical, but this is the path. And they'll fire you. They'll move on to the next person, and it'll demand them do blah, 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 blah. And then they'll fail, and then they'll fire them, and they'll keep on going through the cycle. So if I were you, I would say, hey, this is a great start. This 90 days have been great, and you could predict it. You could say, we're going to start losing sales. It's not because that these are less effective ads. It's because we saturated the market, and we're not nurturing these customers to come back as better customers. And so what I would do is say, hey, here's the customer value journey. Here's your business. And here's the pieces that we have. We have the awareness stage set. We have the initial conversion stage set, but there's no excitement per se. We haven't got people excited after they purchase, and there's no ascension. So even though somebody came in and they got a $50 cryotherapy session, there was no way for them to ascend the ladder up into, buying more stuff, getting that subscription plan, getting the cryo sculpting ongoing maintenance plan, like whatever it is. But if there's no path to it, then one, those people won't get results, which is the biggest driver behind fitness, right? Is I went there, oh, I look so much better. And then I told all my friends about it. And then they said, how'd you do that? And I said, I went to cryo sculpting. And that's the journey they're supposed to take. If there's no reason for them to keep on talking about it, then the cryo is just the current shiny object, and they'll just move on to the next shiny object. And that might not be in your business unless you provide that shiny object for them. Right.
And so that was the thing I told Michelle, like, this is all new for me, like total new, seriously. Everything I've learned is just from what I've gone in through the CP program, and just, that looks really cool. Yeah. So, I hear what you're saying, because you're absolutely right. Like, and I'm starting to experience this as I'm starting to pick up like clients, but like, I really wanted to do business coaching. And then I realized I need to learn digital marketing first, because it all hit at the same time with COVID. And so it's literally just been finding people to like, let me help them. And then I get more confidence. Right. So I see what you're saying is absolutely correct. If I'm not driving like the CVJ, I do get blamed, even when I do a really good job. And then they're like, okay, well, this didn't work exactly like I wanted it to. So I'm going to try this thing over here, because everybody says this works, but it's the same thing. If you're not tracking, if you're not looking at your analytics, if you're not even measuring at all, you're just going to have that same broken result. So at the very least, that's what I've learned, that having analytics and tag manager, and just starting to like really get into that, and having something to talk about, at least with the numbers, I can say, look, this is what your SEO did and didn't do. So what's next? Because they don't know what to search for. It's real obvious, right? And yeah, and
well,
you know what, maybe we need to look at landing pages because they, you know, they had that click through, but they didn't convert. So I guess at a bare minimum, I'm learning what numbers to look at and what that means, and I can have that conversation.
Well, but the problem is, even if you have those numbers and you're able to justify the things you did, like his conversion rate is dependent on the rest of the journey. And if he keeps on switching things out, there's no really defined path for people to walk in terms of the solution that they got, then you're just going to keep on, because it's really the cold traffic that sounds like he's good at getting, but because the town is so small, you saturated it probably pretty well already. And now you're going to be stuck. And then he's going to start blaming things and he'll keep on switching stuff. So that's the problem is since there's no system, he'll just keep trying new things and you'll keep on getting blamed for those things not working until he just says, oh, well, you just don't know what you're doing. And then he'll let you go. So what I would do is I would say, hey, you know, the first 90 days was great. We generated a lot of awareness. You got some sales. Fantastic. Now let's talk about the next 90 days. And this is a way you'll keep him as a client for at least that 90 days too. And then you'll have that opportunity to prove to him that the system works. And so I think that's the best way, because it sounds like now the problem is you create this hockey stick chart, right? Like, we went from $0 to $50,000, and he wants that. Now that's your average. So you have to, well, number one, the easiest way, email marketing. You know, those people who got a session 2 months ago, they need to be reminded, like, hey guys, it's now the middle of bikini season. You could still, thanks to how fast our stuff works, you could still get results for August, your next trip that's coming up. And then they'll drive July sales, because you'll have, you'll have seasonality and stuff like that. But if you have that core group of customers, which 2,000 emails is a significant amount of emails, you know.
It's not even 2,000 because we couldn't upload it. It's less than 2,000.
Well, whatever it is, more than one.
Like right, it is more than one. Yeah, I think it's probably like 200 to 300, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, and you have that list of past customers, because even with the the amount of people that you have there, I mean, 300, that's a ton, and people who have bought $50,000 worth of cryotherapy, which what's the average session, like the average product sale?
From what I understand, it's about 250. Like,
no, it's good
average,
So 250, that's still a significant amount of people that have gotten the service. So following up with those people, that's a quick win. And then you have to get them on a program, because if you don't get them on a program, it's just like a, rat race hamster wheel, where you're going to keep trying. And then the minute that stops, he's going to fire you. And there's no way for it to continue, because ideally you're able to set up his system and then it's maintenance after that. But if you don't get the system done in the first place, it's impossible. You'll have to give him a win every month or every week. Otherwise he'll say,
I have noticed that too, because I wasn't brought in to set up the system. I was the SEO guy and the ad hoc, hey, set up my ads guy. Right? Like, Carol, you can do these things. Hey, look at my analytics guy, explain this stuff to me. So I can see the value though, and I think that's part of going through this journey myself. And again, being so new and just learning from this community really, and being able to have mentorship here. And I feel like I'm on a hot seat, right? I wasn't expecting the hot seat, but I'm feeling the hot seat.
Your achievement is undeniably good. Like the fact that you were able to help a brand new business grow like that is incredible. But the cool thing is you could partner with one of the CPs, the other CPs who has a set system, and have them walk you through it. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Maybe you'll have to share some money or whatever, but if you're able to keep this client, it'll be 100% worth it, because you'll develop those systems. Because the other trick is, since you're so new, you're probably in a bunch of different industries, but the health industry, there's plenty of money there. So maybe you decide like, hey, I'm going to do the health industry. And then now you could develop him as your first case study. Actually, he is your first case study. You already
well,
have
actually, he's not. I have, and it has been like mostly these like massage therapists. I have an esthetician that we did from like 3K to like 30 in about a year.
Wow,
monthly.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it has been the health industry people that, but she like allowed me to do the CVJ, and we've done everything together. So she was my very first.
Oh,
and,
yeah, you've already done it.
Yeah, so it's like I know it works every time. Like even minimally, from minimal understanding, it works.
Well, so, I think that's then you just have to do it with him. You have to systematically do it. Yeah, I think that the toughest part is that he hired you for one thing and you're having to switch over to strategy, but he needs the strategy because he sounds like a fitness person. And I've dealt with thousands of them because I had a fitness magazine, and they're all pretty ADHD and they like and they just go with whatever is happening right now. So, but they also love plans. So I think if you said, hey, we're going, things are rocking, let's take it to the next level, time for strategy session, and then make it as formal as possible. And we have the frameworks, of course, in the certified partner program, but you have to stay on the line because he's, on the verge of leaving is
sure. I wouldn't say like I have a monthly retainer with him. It's just usually like, hey, let's get together and talk about this and that. So
so I think you could say, hey, I have a 9-month program, and then use that other case study that you mentioned as your justification for it. Say, hey, there was another business that I worked with, they had already started up, so we were able to implement the CVJ over the last 12 months. We've done your 90-day campaign, and make it sound like this was your intention the whole time. Now it's time to get on the real program, and then here's what we're going to do next, and here's how, and give them projections. Say, hey, based on your current growth and, the population of your area and the people you're targeting, I think we could realistically do X dollars per month. So that's going to be our objective. And now here you go. And he might not listen, but he will hear that you have a strategy. And then when his bouncing around doesn't work, you could go back to that. Like, yeah, of course it doesn't work. How could it work? There's no system here. It's throwing junk at a wall and hoping that it sticks, but you don't have that or he doesn't have that luxury because there's only so many people in your area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where I would say the next thing, because that's incredible. That's an amazing case study that you should put everywhere. And then maybe just start saying, leverage it right now would probably be the best way just for your business, is saying, hey, I am the health and wellness expert.
I would put my finger on that. It's like, that's rough.
You have more case studies than a lot of people who focus on that market. It's the fact that you have any numbers at all is super impressive. So I'd say double down and go crazy. You'll still have other people come to you just in case you're worried about niching. It's because you'll still share the case studies and the results, and it'll be like, oh yeah, will it work for my clothing boutique? Will it work for my water business or whatever it is? I'm thinking of local. I'm like water reclamation, but I don't know if that's the thing in South Dakota.
Yeah, I think the hardest for me too is just having those conversations, because and Jay knows me because I work with Jay quite a bit. Like I'm kind of like the Wizard of Oz. I am not the front man. Like I would just rather be behind the curtain, like looking at the data and putting things together and fixing broken things. So it'll be interesting, like bringing forward that conversation, right?
Well, and if you just structure it out and practice it a couple times with other CPs, then it'll feel really natural. And you'd be amazed if once you have a system, once you present the system, like, here's what we're going to do, they will instantly respect you more, because they'll be like, oh, I didn't look at it like that. And then you obviously have done this. You could say it's used by 120,000 other marketers. Ryan Dice made $100 million, using this exact framework and blah, blah, blah. And then you're off to the races. But you have to do it. There's really no option.
And I've seen, like, I do have another client that it's still local service, but definitely have helped them grow quite a bit too this past 3 months. Like the 90-day thing is real when you do it. And then when I was able to show him the CVJ, because again, it was just like, oh, my website never got built, Carol, can you do that? Sure, I can do that. And guys, you should run ads, seriously. I don't know. And then we run ads, and it was amazing because they do water damage, like restoration.
No,
and we ran ads to another state, and they were just like, everybody's calling us. This is so awesome. So, but when I finally was able to show them the CVJ and like how that works, oh, like it is definitely the aha light bulb moment. And it's like, this is what I've been trying to march you towards, like step by step. But because it's just me like doing the implementation, there's no team there. You know, it's like we do this one thing and then we're going to do this next thing. And then here's what would be next after that.
Oh yeah. And people love that. They love, one, that you have a plan. They love that they're always progressing, which is really what everybody wants. Like, even if you aren't getting results, you still know, like, I'm getting to the results. And then there's a time frame with it, because nobody wants to hear like, yeah, we'll do SEO and within 12 to 24 months, you should be generating this much traffic. Like, nobody ever wants to hear that. They'll be like, oh, I thought I was going to get blah, blah, blah. There was actually a local company here in Texas, and I had developed the brand, and then he hired this other company to do SEO, and he charged the guy 15 grand up front and 5,000 a month for a year for SEO services. And I was like, why would you do that? But that's an odd thing. The guy was a lawyer, so I'm sure he just got sold by some lawyer specialty SEO firm. But even that SEO firm probably has a solid, here's how the 12 months will go, and every month it'll increase, and they probably had some big presentation that sold them on it.
Yeah,
so you just need to do the same thing, you know. And maybe both ways for him, because once you get rid of, you know, once you saturate the market and everybody knows about you, but you're not providing that next step, then it'll just start to tail off or just plateau. You know, that's what you typically see.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. Definitely
well, the
a conversation worth having.
If he's one of the big picture guys, which it sounds like he is, if he started several businesses, you could say like, hey, this is the next step. We need to solidify your current market. It's 80,000 people. We're going to try to get 3% of those people to be ongoing clients. Once you have that system down, now you've done the ads, you've done the branding, you've done the strategic plan. Now, what do you think about doing a franchise? You know, and he'll be like,
he's already like ready to open up store number 2. So he's already looking to do that.
Exactly. And so you could say like, you won't be able to copy your success here unless we systematize your marketing, because then you'll be reinventing the wheel again. And you don't want to do that, because it's going to get riskier the more shops you open up. So let's pull that together. Really, he could probably do it right now, because he could just say like, hey, I grew my business from 0 to 50,000 a month in 3 months. And every entrepreneur in town number 2 will be like, holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah, they would be too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You tell that, like, even if that's the only result he has, like, people go nuts for it. But I think that's how you sell them on it. Just say like, hey, you know, you want to do this somewhere else. We need to figure out what worked, and we need to duplicate it. And the only way we can do that is if we structure it. And so here's how we're going to structure it. CVJ, all the steps. Once you're at this number, you're saturated. Go ahead. And you could probably come up with a saturation number, because with 80,000 people, you could say, look at who has bought in the last 3 months and say, okay, it's 70%. I don't know the number. I'm just making all this up. 70% women are the people who are coming in. So in this town of 80,000, that is 35,000 people. The age is 20 to 40, or let's say 30 to 50 is the average age of these women. That population of that 35,000 is only about 15,000. And so you could easily break it down to, okay, your saturation rate, maybe you capture maximum 20% of your, you know, the customers that will probably use you. You're looking at 7,000 people.
Okay.
And so when you saturate that 7,000 people who also want cryotherapy, okay, it's going to be 2,000. Like the number gets really small, really fast. And you could say, hey, here's the saturation rate. That's why we have to focus on developing these customers into higher paying ongoing customers. And here we go.
And I'll be, you know, open. I guess I've never thought of that before, because this is a new like concept to me, as far as like, you know what I'm saying? I haven't heard people talk about like saturation rates yet in my journey. So that makes a lot of sense to me, you know, like where does it stop, right? Because obviously it's not an infinite pool. But I do have hit like the lists, so I can look at that, and obviously I have analytics and, you know, insights to look at, because I was looking at that, like what do they all have in common? Like what are we touching here? What are the audiences that we want to develop from like your actual customer list? So that was like the next step that I was progressing towards. But also being able to talk to him like, hey, you know, this is where you're going to tap out. What are we going to do to make them multi-buyers, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and that kind of the saturation rate will tell him a lot, because it's not something you can argue with. Like, okay, well, after I'm done with my current target market, I'm going to move on to the next target market, and so on and so forth. But he'll like the numbers, and you could say like, here's what you've done so far. Now we need to find out what we could do to get them back, or we need to make our existing customers start to refer more customers. So I'm going to send out a survey of the past customers and say, hey, how were the results, or what did you like best about the service? They give you, you know, some first party data, and now you can take that and go to the next, or give us feedback and your next session is free, or refer a friend and your next session is free. And then there's like a million ways you could go with it, but that would probably be, you know, the focus. But he also needs his objectives. Does he have like, here's the revenue number that I'm looking for?
We didn't talk about that. Again, it was just like, hey, Carol, do the thing, research my keywords, put that in an ad. Cool. Like we did some stuff, you know, and this is my result. Isn't that awesome? Because, you know, this is the first cryotherapy business that he's ever opened. So I think it was like, let's see what happens. And it was like, wowzers, this was pretty cool. But now I'm curious,
but
like
oh, go ahead.
Where would like I find that saturation number, like calculation? Because I do want to know such things, right? Like, how do you put that together?
Oh, you probably have a lot of it. For the number I was talking about, you could just do simple demographics search for the city, or you could look at your existing customers and find out where they came from. But I mean, it would really start if you go to those 300 people and say, hey, we have thank you so much for using, you know, the service last week. Would you mind filling out the survey, and we'll give you half off of your next session, or whatever you want to do.
Sure.
Then you'll find out from them, and you might just put those questions in there, like maybe not even put their name, just put, what's your age range? You know, what's your, you won't be able to get their weight. Nobody's going to give you that information, but try to get whatever data you can from, why did you do this? I have an upcoming wedding. I have stubborn belly fat. Whatever it is, my doctor told me to lose weight, whatever. Then you know who those people are, and now you can do more research into what's going on,
and how to target
how many people are actually need this thing. Because the other thing, you could also look at other businesses that are complementary to cryotherapy. So maybe it's physical therapy. Like there's a lot of physical therapists that might say, hey, you need to lose weight to get your busted knee better. And so, strategic partnerships, that's another whole opportunity, especially with fitness people, where, you know, you can partner with a local PT, local family doctor, local gym, you know, and then now you could cross-sell, and you have the strategic partnerships that'll lead to more people.
And that's funny, because I talk about that a lot, because I'm in B&I and leadership. And we talk about like the contact spheres, like who shares that ideal customer, but does like something slightly different that you could pass referrals to. So I don't even think like Mike and I have had that particular conversation yet either. But it's, especially around here, it's huge to have like that solid referral partners, because Michelle and I were talking about that too. Like referrals from trusted people are always just so much better, you know, as a customer.
Oh yeah, so much easier. Well, and the thing is, if you set up the systems, then you'll be able to claim credit for that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're like, hey, I really recommend in the fitness space that you have 3 strategic partners, a trainer, a doctor, and a therapist, or whatever it is.
Right.
And then
I don't know, we haven't.
And then now.
Yeah.
And really,
he did have some trainers. Yeah, he had a couple personal trainers that he like onboarded into staff. So that's where he was starting with like some of those strategic partnerships there.
Yeah. And even not hiring, maybe it's just a coupon that you extend to their network. Like, hey, if you promote this, here's the first session free coupon. And you know where it came from. So now you're able to not only establish the strategic partnerships, but track who's actually sending you traffic.
Yeah. There's so much, isn't there? Like this, it's infinite. It really is. All the like little things you can do, the opportunities. And I feel like each one is such a specialty. Sometimes I just feel like my mind's blown, like for one little me, because it's just me, to try to handle like doing this well, right? Or doing the next step well, then I feel like I got to go back to school and show up with some real knowledge.
No.
You know?
Well, that's where the niching comes from, because if you're able to do it with one person in that, then you could just copy and paste it to the next business that has similar characteristics, and or you'll just hit up the strategic partners. I mean, that's actually probably a good way to get new business for you, is to set up these strategic partnerships where you're like, hey, I'm working with this new cryotherapy. We just set them up with our customer value journey. We strategically went through and made their marketing plan. We had this part in the engage phase that we think you really would fit with. And would you be interested in talking to us about, making a coupon or whatever? So now you just introduce the fact that you're a marketing strategist to another person while you're helping the first client. And then it's like, oh, could you do that for my business?
And I've been working on that. Yeah. I've been working on like just having my referral partners, because I don't want to do it all, not even close. So that's been slow going. And, you try some things and some things work well, and you learn some things and you keep moving forward. And sometimes you find some amazing people that, bring you into the fold and get to try more things and learn more things. So it's always a progression,
Well, just so you know, this, your whole path is just the path that everybody's on. So it's not like, somebody who's been doing this marketing strategy for 10 years could go in and just destroy it, be like, oh, well, here's how you do it, because we're all learning and failing and succeeding at the same time. So it's just part of it. But I think the only trick for you is just stop saying that you're new to this. Number one, just ever. Sure. You are an expert. You have made success, and you've made hundreds of thousands of dollars for small businesses.
I have. Yeah.
You're an expert. Yeah. So just lead with that. Like, I kick butt, and I've made all this money for all these people, and I'm looking for the next person to do it, because that's what you do. And then you just have to go with the confidence of, just going in and being like, once you get that success and once you're in the door, because that's a good way to market too, is you get in the door, you get people success, and then you go to the next phase. Oh, Jay, did you have something to add to that?
I do. I need to brag on Carol for a few minutes. Let me lower my hand here. So a few months ago, Carol and I, we've been talking a lot since Scalable for probably over a year now. And a few months ago, she wanted to get more practice with Google Ads and Tag Manager and analytics. And one thing I've learned and absolutely love about Carol is that she dives in. Like, she dives in. She will learn this stuff, like, full immersion, right? That's kind of how I would describe it. And the best part about it is that there's a lot of things that I know and that I forget, that she comes in and she's like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And she challenges me almost daily on the clients I'm working with and what we're doing with their CVJ and what we're doing with their tracking and their analytics. And she's gotten good at Tag Manager. And now I just have her set up my client conversions in Tag Manager and in the Google Ads conversions. She's in analytics all the time. So we're starting to see that, like, we've been able to make tweaks and changes that are paying off. And we're also able to, like, pinpoint why things aren't happening when they should. I mean, even to the point of, like, looking at heat maps and doing all sorts of, like, just, Carol came and said, I want to get better. I want to be, like, really good at analytics, tracking, Tag Manager, and ads. And I was like, done, because I don't want to do any of that anymore, because I don't really like immersing myself into it. And so, Carol, you have more than enough experience to say that, you're not new at this. And I just wanted to brag on you for a few minutes to say that I appreciate everything that you do. And we talk, 3-4 times a week. So, I mean, you're definitely a part of my team and all the experience that I'm able to give you. So don't forget that.
Yay. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, and the fact of the matter is we were actually releasing an article today where I worked with Ryan to come up with a description of what a professional marketer is, like the definition, and you actually meet all of it. You guys want to see what the definition is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was like, well, what's funny is you think like, oh yeah, everybody knows what that is. It's like, nope. I learned that in the fitness space, that turns out no name or names could mean multiple things, and you could just decide how to spell things, because that's also something that everyone does.
Sounds like a similar conversation I've had recently. Like, I think there's buzzwords and people use it, but I don't know if there's really a standardized definition, because it's really it's up to interpretation, right?
No, it's not. You have to find it. Now,
Okay.
Digital marketer is the owner of the phrase professional marketing. All right, here's the article. Actually, this article applies to you too, because it's how to elevate the professional marketing. And I basically was thinking of like, why doesn't anybody respect marketers? That's a pain in the butt. So I write why people don't respect marketers. And then I came up with the definition with Ryan Dice's help on this. Minimum 2 years building and executing marketing campaigns, general understanding of marketing metrics, and sincere desire to measure and be measured. And you're a T-shaped marketer, means that you have a broad understanding of all aspects of marketing and you have a specialty. So I think the specialty is the trick for you. It sounds like ads could start to be it, right? But it's whatever
I have fun in there. But the best part for me, I think, is setting up the conversions and looking at the analytics. So I really feel like I want to be more into measurement and CRO, but ads gets you there because you got to have traffic first to even do all the other cool things. And I'm not a creative. Like I do love copy, and I love like doing all the frame, like the avatar, and like looking at that and then comparing it to like what actually came into like validation. So I love more of let's get it on paper and validate this thing so we can say yes, like this is our guy or gal or our segment. But for me to like come up with juicy words, not so much, right? Like I get it. But,
well, I mean, that's just do the copywriting, sir. You're fine.
Yeah.
Well, the neat thing is with Performance Max is they'll do most of the work for you once you have the information in there. So, and that's actually Aaron Peterson is doing our paid media bootcamp, and he just talked yesterday, and his format is so simple that it's ridiculous what it is, because it's like, oh my gosh, that's all it takes, and it's not complicated, and all it is testing and tracking and then refining and doing it all over again.
Yeah,
and there's really no way around that.
Yeah, I'm definitely in on the media buyer bootcamp though, and mind blown. It's all so good.
Oh yeah. And so, but the fact of the matter is, it's just try, keep learning. And then, because I hear the not a creative thing, that's always something people say. I'm like, yeah, no, you are. And you need to be. Actually, there's a whole thing about like how, it's not necessary for marketers to be creative as well. And it's like, I think it is. I think everybody's visual and becoming increasingly visual. So it's a consideration that we all need to have all the time. And there's just no way around it, except for PMAX. PMAX is a good way around it, where you could just throw a bunch of junk in there and be like, figure it out.
And it does.
AI.
And even like with Facebook being more dynamic, right? That's what I found. The recent one I did was let it be dynamic first, figure it out, and then start pulling like what was winning.
Yeah. And it's perfect. So I think you're doing an awesome job, and you are an expert, just so you know, based on the digital marketer definition of professional marketer. So congratulations. And you're kicking butt. You have multiple case studies. You're great. Just keep it up.
Thanks.
And just go in there. You have to go in there with that confidence. That's the only thing I would say. Like, you know, the systems, you know, it works. Now you just got to come up with that presentation. And all I would do if you're worried about like actually just having the conversation, turn them into TikToks or just do selfie videos where you walk through like, hey, here's what we're going to do. And you just explain it on a video. And then now you have the confidence because you've done it a few times. And there you go. And even if you don't want to memorize it, you could just use, what do I use? Because I'm lazy and I think of things.
I think that's the next piece,
That's
right? Because I'm still building too, is putting that together.
So just has the words, and you just go through and read it, video it, and now you can watch it back and see how it is. I'm Mark de Grasse. No, I'm super introverted. I joined BNI because I was super nervous about talking in front of people. So
yeah, and I love what BNI has done for my confidence for sure over the last 2 years.
Well, it's just that experience. It's experience and systems, you know, because if you actually look at a lot of the members of BNI, it's a bunch of awkward nerds. And it's probably the same for, you know, not marketers. Marketers are cool AF.
Well, but
there's other industries where a bunch of nerds are.
The goal in that too is like they make it really easy, and the system is like where all that gold is. It's like one referral, one-to-one, like one you know, education unit every week, and you just keep marching towards that, and it's not hard, but you realize like this is teaching me everything I'm going to need to know, like to network well.
Oh yeah, even if you don't even if you don't understand why, like you'll still learn it and it'll be applicable when it comes up and you'll feel good about it. So, and just so you know, like the alternative is having that brilliant idea and having that make your business, and it's just not going to happen. It's just like when a client says, I want this next video to go viral, and you're like, that's not how that works. I have no idea what's going to go viral, and I've created 50,000 pieces of content, and I still have zero clue what is going to be a hit piece of content, and it always surprises me. So just so you know, it's the same there. Systematically execute crap. Some of it will be fantastic, and the rest will keep you moving. Well, thank you so much. Where can we learn more about you and your business, Carol?
Oh my gosh, it's a work in progress. So I have carol-suzuki.com, right? That's my latest iteration of my website. Work in progress. Loving FG funnels, though. Great. My God, is so good. High level's amazing.
That looks great. Oh, you got your certs up on the top. I love that.
I did. Yes.
Oh, do you have your CP badge? Oh, I need to do that. Just so you guys know, moving forward, I'm using one of my old brands called Hippo Hype as the example of a certified partner website. And so then you can just see how I'll basically make tutorials on like, hey, here's where your badge should live within your website, and then show you how it's implemented. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, everybody go to Carol Suzuki or carol-suzuki.com and follow all of her stuff. Let me see.
How much?
Where's your TikTok? Oh, your Facebook isn't linked.
Like I said, it's work in progress. Yeah, work in progress.
Hey, that's all right. All right. Well, we will all follow you online. Everybody, also, anybody 3Ps here that hasn't put their TikTok on the CP group, do it today, because I'll follow you using the certified partner account and my personal account. So you get 2 new followers for free. Be great. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let us know if you have any questions in the meantime. And thank you for joining Agencies Talk.
Thank you for having me.